Call the meeting to order. This is the regular session of the Black Mountain Board of Aldermen for the month of May. I'd like to welcome everyone. At this time, would you please turn off your telephones or also your beepers? Let us stand and do a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time we'll ask Reverend David Braber, pastor of the First Baptist Church, Black Mountain, to come and do our invocation.
Pray with me. Dear God, we are thankful for our community and for these that are serving us. So we ask that you provide them wisdom in their decision making, that what they decide may be good, may be for the good of us all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pastor, would you like to touch lightly on, go ahead and have your seat, please, how the shelter went for the winter?
Homeless shelter went very well this year. We had good volunteers. It was a long year. It was cold for much of the year, but we barely made it under the wire as far as the number of permissible days that we had. But it was a very good year.
Okay. Thank you. Excuse me. I have a report on the clean sweep or the litter sweep that was done April 13th through April 27th. 49 people participated in the cleanup. 63 bags of litter were collected, and 124 hours were worked picking up litter in the community. I want to give a special thank you to everyone that participated, and also to the Black Mountain Beautification Committee for all their work in coordinating and participating in this event. Have a couple of proclamations tonight. One is the North Carolina Domestic Violence Proclamation, 100 Day. Whereas the town of Black Mountain is concerned about the issues of domestic and teen dating violence in the state of North Carolina. Whereas statistics show that on average 3 women are murdered by their intimate partners every day. Whereas 95 to 97% of severe domestic violence occurs against women of all ages, races, religions, and socioeconomic status. Whereas battering is the leading cause of injury or hospitalization for women. And whereas the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence reports that more than 9 times as many women are murdered by a man they know than are killed by strangers. And whereas statistics show that our youth are enduring dating violence as early as age 13, and show that half of reported date rapes occur among teenagers. Whereas surveys show that only 33% of teenagers who are in an abusive relationship ever tells anyone. And whereas there were 63 domestic violence homicides in the state of North Carolina in the year 2012. There has been 10 domestic violence homicides in North Carolina in 2013 as of March 15, 2013. And whereas sexual abuse is also a form of domestic violence. And whereas we believe that educating our communities on the issues of domestic and teen dating violence is imperative. And whereas Mothers on a Mission Domestic Violence Organization is dedicated to educating the state of North Carolina on the issue of domestic and teen dating violence. And whereas Mothers on a Mission has dedicated Saturday, June 15, 2013, to a statewide educational event on the issues of domestic and teen dating violence, and will set up radio and television interviews and workshops across North Carolina. Therefore, I, Carl Bartlett, Mayor of the town of Black Mountain, do hereby proclaim Saturday, June 15, 2013, as North Carolina Domestic Violence Proclamation 100 Day. Next one is Lyme Disease Awareness Month for May. Whereas infected ticks carrying the bacteria Borrelia Burgdorferint, which causes Lyme disease, continues to spread throughout North Carolina as 3 counties are now classified as an epidemic for Lyme disease. And whereas the total numbers of both suspected and confirmed Lyme disease cases reported to our state health department continues to rise each year, with over 1,000 case events reported in 2012. Whereas ticks commonly found in North Carolina have been known to transmit Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and many other diseases to residents. Whereas Lyme disease is difficult to diagnose because it imitates other conditions and no reliable laboratory test can prove who is either infected or bacterial-free, which often leads to underdiagnosis or misdiagnosis. And whereas early indicators of infection include flu-like symptoms characterized by chills, headache, fatigue, muscle, joint aches, and swollen lymph nodes. And whereas weeks or months later, patients with untreated or undertreated Lyme disease can suffer from permanent and sometimes life-threatening damage to the brain, joints, heart, eyes, liver, spleen, blood vessels, and kidneys. For this reason, it is imperative that all who may be exposed to Lyme disease receive immediate treatment. Whereas the warm summer months are considered the most active time for ticks, and when the majority of residents are exposed to ticks during outdoor activities. Therefore, it is important that residents are aware of the potential for acquiring Lyme disease in our town and preventive measures they can take to minimize the risk of infection. Therefore, I, Carl Bartlett, Mayor of the Town of Black Mountain, do hereby proclaim May as Lyme Disease Awareness Month for 2013, and call upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their awareness of Lyme disease in an effort to minimize and to encourage obtaining medical treatment immediately. If it goes untreated for a certain amount of time, it cannot be cured. If you get it early enough, it can be cured. So that's a good proclamation that they've asked that we do. This time we'll call on citizen comments. First to sign up is Tom Gill.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. My name is Tom Gill. I live at 110 Walnut Street here in Black Mountain. I am pleased to update you this evening about what is happening with the Town Square project. I believe each of you have a packet in this regard. The steering committee is in full swing with the public portion of fundraising campaign. People are purchasing bricks, sponsoring features, and asking when we will break ground for the next phase of the development. And tonight I want to address that point. As reported earlier, the Buncombe County Commissioners voted unanimously to fund construction of the public restrooms on the town square with a grant of $50,000. The committee agrees that taking the next steps toward development of the property is at hand, starting with the restrooms. The committee retained the services of Mari Hurt to provide architectural drawings of the restrooms, which are patterned after the design he did for the facilities on Cherry Street. The outside design of the restrooms on the square will be arts and crafts, as you can see in the packet provided. And here's a copy of that for you all to see. The building will resemble the old train depot, as is of arts and crafts style, as well as are many other structures in Black Mountain. The outside will feature natural stone on the bottom half with durable concrete board on the upper half. The roof will overhang to provide protection from the elements. The building will be heated and cooled, and on-demand hot water will be available. This facility will also serve as the primary electrical service point for the entire town square, so an ample breaker box and associated conduit will be in place as needed. A handicap parking space is available in front of the police department directly across the street from the restrooms. If necessary, an additional handicap space can be located in front of the facility. We intend to break ground on this portion of the project within the next couple of weeks. Initially, the asphalt on the east end of the grassy area, including the wall that runs north to south across the property, will be taken out. Removal of the wall will facilitate grading the site from the edge of the grassy area to blend into the parking lot on the east end. Due to the difference in elevation between the upper and lower levels, a semicircular slope will be graded into the site between the restrooms and State Street. The 3 large trees along the north border of the property will be saved, as will the flowering shrubs that run east and west of the parking lot. The pad for the restrooms will be located directly across from the entrance to the police department, and the building itself will face west towards Montreat Road. We are excited to begin this phase of the project and look forward to its successful conclusion. Respectfully, Tom Gill.
Thanks, Tom. John DeWitt.
Could I have the slide? Could I have my? One of the questions that has come up from a lot of the people is how we're going to continue to pay for it, and this is the opportunity now for community people to participate through 3 major things. We have decided on a picnic table, which will look like that. That can be with a plaque on it in honor of whoever you want, in memory of that. Those will allow for 14 character lines on that one, and for the public, it's $37.50 to get that. And with logo on it, if you have a corporation and you want to put your logo on it, it'll be $7,500, and that'll be on the table. The bench, which will look like this, people can get those for $2,500 or with a symbol on it for $5,000. That's what the bench looks like that the committee decided on. So we have probably 10 benches and 8 picnic tables that will be in the park as designed. So it's really first come, first served, and if you want to meet me at the door to sign one up before they're all gone, that's the thing. The other is the bricks. People have asked me about the bricks. I did bring some bricks with me today. This is the clay brick that people can get. These are $50 for a clay brick. You're allowed 3 lines on it, 3 lines for the clay brick. These are the granite bricks, like that one. These are for $200 for memory, and these will be used throughout the park also. These are very, very heavy. And then this is the 8x8 granite brick. That'll be available. And then we have a 16x16, which I couldn't carry. So 8x8 is as large as I can go. So, and you'll have 6 lines on one of those for you can purchase for one of those. So those are the bricks that we have available. And we have the brochures. If you look, you'll see these brochures all over town, which describes it. And then on the last page of that, again, there's the bricks, the sizes of the bricks, the cost for the bricks, the number of lines available on each of the bricks. And the last page is, if you just fill that out, of what you want. So depending upon the size of the brick, it tells you how many lines, what the cost for the brick is. You fill that out and just mail it to us, and we'll take care of the rest. So that's where we are right now. It has increased considerably. We're getting about 5 to 10 a day coming in right now. I got 10 of them this morning of bricks to be bought. So we really appreciate the support, but we want to make sure that everybody in this town has the opportunity to buy a brick into the park. So thank you all.
Thank you, John. I know I speak for the whole board. Thank you, and Tom, for the work you're doing. Bob Watts.
I'm Bob Watts, 130 Church Street. Probably know a whole lot more about what I'm talking about Wednesday afternoon than I do today. But since House Bill 488 has been passed and will become law Wednesday, unless legal action is verified, I needed to give you an update on that. House Bill 488 would transfer the City of Asheville's assets and the water system to MSD. It would create a new entity, a Metropolitan Water and Sewer District, that would have 15 members. The original 12 from MSD, plus 2 from Henderson County and 1 from Mills River. Operations would be pretty much day to day as they are now. We would keep water and sewer separate. The City of Asheville will initiate litigation tomorrow and ask for a 10-day temporary restraining order until a hearing can be held based on the fact that they weren't compensated and they feel like that it's a endangerment to health and safety. So, have any questions?
No.
Okay. All right.
Our number one bag lady, Marilyn, that we really appreciate.
It's good I can take teasing. Marilyn Sabansky, Rainbow Recycling. Just here to alert you to 2 recycling events. One is this Saturday, our plastic flower pot collection at the Black Mountain Garden Show and Sale. That's this Saturday, 9 to 4 at the Monte Vista. We collect plastic only, no clay, no ceramic, flower pots and trays. Any description, whether they're intact or whether they're broken. And they'll be available for people growers or individuals, if you want to retrieve some, you can make use of it. You'll be welcome to pick up whatever you want, and the rest will get recycled. And also I'll alert you, the East Buncombe Hard to Recycle collection that I mentioned before is on July 13th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that the site just got confirmed. It will be again at the Ace Hardware there in Swannanoa. Thank you.
Thank you, Merlin. We appreciate all your work. This time we'll hear from Chad Knight, the chairman of the Town Debt Reduction Committee. Chad?
Chad Knight, 348 McCoy Cove Road, and I think Anna is actually the chair, but since she is busy, otherwise occupied, I'll be doing the
When
presentation.
the hard work comes along, she'll pass it off, Chad.
Exactly. Got a PowerPoint presentation with you, and y'all have got paper copies of that. I want to let you know before I get started, Dean pulled me aside before the meeting. The second slide, he's explained to me, some of the numbers could be not exactly accurate, so we're going to skip past that. The point of that slide is to establish that the debt ratio in this town is not necessarily out of line with other towns of the same population and similar size, if that makes sense, okay? So, what we did was we sat down, took a look at the debt in the town, and tried to come up with different ways that it could be approached, addressed, lowered, basically, is what we're trying to do. One of the ideas is that we reduce, obviously, the principal payments for any loans that are over 4%. Because we think you can probably get those refinanced, lower the interest rates on those loans. The ones that we've identified are the Clevenger Building, 2009 fire truck loan, the old City Hall loan, and then there's the phone system, which does have a higher interest rate than 4%, but there's not very much to be paid on that one, so we would recommend just going ahead and paying it off and saving the interest. Another thing we've tried to do is come up with some new revenues. Now, some of these aren't going to be very popular, so don't hold this against me. These are just some ideas. One of them is to do a automated parking meter, like you see in downtown Asheville and some of the lots down there. It's basically go pay with a credit card or with cash, something like that. The idea is to put this in the parking lot at the new town square, kind of where the old gas station was now, if that would work out. We did some conservative estimates, and we think that that would probably bring in around $40,000 per year to the town. It probably cost around $10,000 to install. Since it's so close to the police department, it would be easy to patrol, write tickets, that kind of thing, monitor, make sure people are paying for their parking when they use it. Another idea, probably the least popular of them all, is a special tax to reduce the debt. Now this suggestion is for a temporary tax increase, an idea, not a suggestion. What it would take is basically 3 cents increase to cover the annual payments, 5 cents to cover and reduce the principal, to cover the payments and reduce the principal. Like I said, may not be a very popular choice, but it's one that we decided to look at and give you some information on regardless. Let's see, another possible new revenue is a $1 per visitor or room service fee. That would be applied to some of the summer camps and conference centers that are in this area. We call this a fire service fee, probably, however you want to label it. We looked at some of the numbers on this. Ridgecrest, Camp Ridgecrest for boys and girls, the Monterey Conference Center, Blue Ridge Assembly, Christ Mount, Dorothy Walls, and Cragmont Assembly. When you add all those up, it comes to just over $100,000 that could be brought in every year if such a fee were to be put in place. Okay? There's the old standby of identify any surplus town property that could be sold and apply that revenue directly to the reduction of outstanding loans, obviously starting with the highest interest rate loans first and moving down. Another suggestion that we have is that the town identify a target debt percentage of the yearly expenditure. Right now it's at 5.5%. Our suggestion is that we try for 3%. Maybe by implementing some of these ideas that we've come up with or other ones that anybody else comes up with, set the goal for 3% and apply all the revenues generated by these ideas specifically to debt reduction until it's been reduced by 2.5 percentage points. This is pretty much what we've come up with. Do y'all have any questions for me that I can answer?
I mentioned this earlier to Bob. Any thoughts about logging on the watershed? We've got about 600 acres there that probably log it by helicopter and wouldn't have damage that you normally do. But that's maybe something you might think about on this committee that,
Yeah, something we could look into and see what can be done with that.
but yeah, some good ideas and some bad ideas.
And some unpopular ideas.
Thank you, appreciate your work. Consent agenda.
Yeah, let me go over that quickly for you. Mr. Mayor, you've got adoption of minutes from the previous meetings. You've got a budget amendment for an insurance settlement related to an accident in our street department. So that's just recognizing the revenue and the expense associated with that settlement. And then you also have two resolutions, one to establish the capital reserve fund in the general fund, one resolution to establish a capital reserve fund in the water fund. Basically, we've talked about this during the budget workshop some. This is an effort to create the fund to allocate money for long-term capital projects, to put small amounts in over time, to put large amounts in when you're able to fund and finance capital projects for current projects and future projects. We'll come back. This is just a resolution, the ordinance that establishes these two funds. I think it's an important step for a long-range financial planning for us to do that. We'll come back at next month's meeting, and then our budget for July will have funds that are actually allocated to those funds. This is just setting those funds up and getting the process started. I'll just briefly remind you that when you set these up, money that goes into these funds then can only be used for capital projects. You will have flexibility with what capital projects you do and how much money is allocated among them, but you cannot then rotate or transfer the money back out for operational personnel expenses. It would only be used for capital projects. It's basically a financial planning tool for us for the future. Probably actually ties in nicely with the debt reduction committee's philosophy, which is to put money in those plans so that you don't have to take on debt. Instead, you will plan for projects and in essence pay as you go. But that's the consent agenda tonight.
Okay. Any questions on it? Is there a motion to approve consent items A through D as presented? In discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. New business?
Yes, for new business, we have one of our firefighters, Scott Lanning, is retiring, and we're requesting that you make a motion to declare his helmet and badge as surplus equipment so they can be awarded to him during a retirement ceremony that the fire department will have for him.
You might want to touch on why he is retiring. That's
Yes,
sad
and
story.
actually, I would feel
Chief?
more comfortable actually if Chief Jones wouldn't mind doing
Chief,
that,
you
only
want-
because I wasn't here at the time, and
touch on why he's
I
retiring.
didn't mean to put you on the spot, Chief, but if you would do that.
I'm used to it.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Lanning was one of the 3 town employees that got hit up on I-40 about a year and a half ago. And he's been through a year and a half of rehab, surgeries, trying to recoup. And the doctors just finally told him what else they could do for him, and he could no longer be a firefighter. So he has applied for his medical disability, which will in turn be a medical retirement. I had talked to Matt about doing the helmet and the badge like the police do the gun and so forth, even though it's not a general statute. Just in recognizing anybody that retires, especially under those circumstances. So,
Absolutely. You might want to touch as to why he was there. You know, some people don't understand why firefighters out there on I-40 for
Okay.
a wreck.
when you cross the top of Old Fort Mountain in the westbound lane, the speed goes to 65 miles an hour. And just at the bottom of that hill, there's a curve. And we always have wrecks right there. And it was a rainy night, and we had a wreck. The first two firemen on the scene, they got out, they cleared the wreck. Nobody was injured, so they got on the other side of the guardrail waiting for the highway patrol. It was a real busy night. The highway patrol was backed up, and one of the Black Mountain officers came up to assist us, which they always do when we got on the highway. And when he pulled in, they stepped across the guardrail to tell him that there was no injuries. We were just waiting on the highway patrol, and then a car came off the mountain around the curve and slid into the Black Mountain police car, which knocked the Black Mountain police car into my two firemen, and all three men were injured. They've all three went through rehab, and Scott was just obviously the one that just couldn't bounce back from it.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to approve to declare his firefighter helmet and badge as surplus equipment and award it to Scott Lennon?
Also move, yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Being no unfinished business, town attorney, you have anything?
Just one short note. At the end of the agenda meeting, Dan Cordell pointed out to me, I think it's House Bill 120, that if it passes, will reduce the number of inspections that the town or county can make during building inspections. Dan says that's several steps back from where we are, and he has some concerns can have an adverse effect on insurance ratings for folks in the town. There are about 999 other bills of concern, but you don't want me to go over all those tonight.
No. The League of Municipalities has opposed that bill, so. Matt, do you have anything?
I don't have anything else to add tonight.
You know, board members have anything?
No, I just wanted to ask Matt, did you find anything out about the rain gauges?
No, I did not. But I know that you requested that. We have those. I will talk to Jamie, and we will get that back in operation. As a matter of fact, having Bob here, I may ask him about it
Since Bob's
too.
here, you might want to get with
Yeah.
him on it.
So, we will get that done. I know that was a concern that we'd had from.
Yeah, because I've had several people ask me, and it's been something that I've been wanting to know.
Yes, sir.
And because our rain fall here in Black Mountain is much different than it is at the actual airport.
Right.
If we could get those set back up. Thanks.
I missed the budget meeting. I had an appointment that I had to take care of. And I noticed in that budget meeting that you had set the final hearing for the budget, I believe, in June, the early June, for the June board meeting.
Yes, sir.
I really think that you need to wait till you have finalization on all the revenues from the state. And we should have those toward the middle to the end of June. Because there could be a change in that could really affect our budget and our taxpayers. So if would, I'd like to eliminate that from the budget or from the agenda in June. Wasn't on here, but I know you guys had talked about it in the budget meeting.
Right. We'll do that. We can do that. As a matter of fact, I think there are some, as the legislation in Raleigh is bouncing back and forth. There's been some changes just in the last few days. It would be good to monitor that some and just make sure that our numbers are going to be accurate when we bring them.
We'll make it as closely as possible. They'll never be perfect.
No, sir.
Anything else? Okay, if there's no objection, I'll declare us adjourned.